Greetings, Ranger fans. Jake here for a deeper look at episode 17 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, our hero. But first, a rapid run-through. Let's kick off the counter. It's morphin' time. Okay, so we open on the beach where Ion's being introduced to Earth's summer. Surfing, sandcastles, ice cream. Well, Jane offers Jayborg an ice cream that causes a brain freeze that knocks over the ice cream line, then the ice cream cart, sending it careening into the crowd, leading Javi to save a little girl while Ion stops the cart. Free ice cream for you two. Javi declines the reward, but Ion's all for it, even staying hyped when a new Sporix trawler emerges, causing the crowd to knock over his triple scoop and the Rangers stop into the changing tents to morph as the monster starts firing nets upon the crowd. And Jane's news sense starts tingling. Ion frees the civilians and gets interviewed by Jane as his teammates get netted up behind him, so he gets back to battle with the blazing battle armor, driving back Trawler, who is quickly recruited by Mucus, leading the other Rangers to call out Gold on his showboating. No fist bump for you. But Ion returns for more selfies with the Ranger fans as Void Knight sees the Buzz Blast report at Area 62, giving him an idea. Party time! At Buzz Blast, the team learns about a beach party to celebrate the Rangers, and although Ion's all for it, the rest of the team believes it would be too dangerous to go as Rangers and risk Void Knight attacking the crowd. Wherever could they get that idea? But still decide to go unmorphed to be on the safe side. Human party time! Of course, Slither's disguised as the host and refuses to kick off the party until the Rangers show up, leading a chant that Ion can't resist, sneaking off, morphing, and popping on stage to satisfy the crowd. But at least he's not foolish enough to show off his Zord, right? So he summons his Zord, and Troller immediately captures the most Razor Zord. Slither reveals himself, and the two teleport off to try hypnotizing it. You're feeling very evil! At the base, the Rangers track the most Zord with the Zord Finder. Ion apologizes for his behavior, and Javi comes up with a plan to use Team Visit Dynakey to rescue the Zord while the others are drawn out to fight Troller. Almost like Javi's some sort of phantom? He takes out the henchman while Ion morphs to fight Slither, who totally failed his online hypnosis course. And Javi summons the Dimetro Blazing Zord, who frees the Mosa Razor Zord, and they combine to form the Electro Zord? Just in time to help the others who are fighting off a giant trawler with the Dino Fury Megazord Claw formation, burning off its nets, electrifying its exit, and allowing them to finish the Sporix Beast off with a Tiger Mega Slash. And Sporix Trap means more ice cream to celebrate. But Ion knows heroes need no rewards, just mind-reading powers to help serve ice cream. Roll credits. And that's the end of the episode. Now, let's take a deeper look. After the major continuity dump of the last episode, this one very much appears to be a breather episode, focusing on a standard lesson of the week to further integrate our new 6th Ranger into the main cast, and choosing to emphasize character development over further plot development. Much like last time, Ion is once again taking center stage, as is expected from a new 6th Ranger, learning not only to find his place within the team, but also learning more about the new world he suddenly found himself in, much like our previous Dinosaur Knight-themed Gold Ranger, Sir Ivan of Xandar. Have I mentioned before that this series has a lot of Dino Charge parallels? I mean, most of it comes down to the aesthetic similarities between Ryusoldier and Kyoryuger, but there's also plenty of other similar vibes, right down to the first episode prominently featuring a career-driven Pink Ranger who helps kick off the plot by running off into the woods against her boss's wishes. But Ion is definitely a very different character from Ivan, much less interested in glorious and honorable combat, and instead reveling in the experiences of being in a new world, building off of some of his more opportunistic character traits that were hinted at in the previous episode. His behavior here, while occasionally frustrating, is quite understandable, as he is clearly new to Earth's ethics and customs, while also being far more hot-headed than his fellow Rafkonian Zato. Although I have to give Zato major props here for having some of the best lines of the episode. Seriously, no fist bump for you, and so he just did it. Both got legitimate chuckles out of me. A major part of why those lines land so well outside of Russell Curry's delivery is that they really effectively communicate the feeling of being a leader who is desperately trying to prove that he knows how to keep his old teammate in check, and just being exhausted by how difficult that actually is. It also emphasizes how different of a Red Ranger Zato is, once again drawing off of his long experience with the role, but this time expanding beyond his usual stoicism and fish-out-of-water innocence to provide a relatable and hilarious new facet of his character. And this is one of the things that you want a new 6th Ranger to accomplish. You want them to provide a new character dynamic within the team that allows you to better understand all the pre-existing characters. This is probably most notable with Javi, who largely functions as a foil to Ion throughout the episode, contrasting his opportunistic love of praise with a subtle humility that reflects well on Javi's previous episodes, specifically his internalized resignation to being a screw-up in his father's eyes. Javi has had to work hard for things, only to have them taken away, and so it does make a fair amount of sense that he would turn down a reward for an instinctual heroic action, because His father, the extremely stern park warden, has likely convinced him that not only would he not deserve it, but it would be dishonorable to accept compensation from the people that he's sworn to protect. Also, his choice to use an invisibility power provides a very nice direct counterpoint to Ion's previous showboating, and I always love the use of Predator-style cloaking devices, for obvious reasons. However, just because these Rangers have understandable motivations doesn't mean that their actions aren't sometimes frustrating, as you can tell from very early on that Ion's actions are going to lead to negative consequences, which is telegraphed immediately by Javi's discomfort with how easily the Gold Ranger is willing to accept a reward for saving the ice cream cart. We can tell from the outset that Ion is supposed to be in the wrong here, and we keep waiting for him to finally get the hint, as he keeps crowing about how great it is to have free ice cream for life and reveling in the adoration of his fans. Also, by the way, I love that he calls them Ranger fans, because I've obviously been using the term for the better part of the last decade, and it's great to see a canon character from the franchise use it too. Well, a canon presentation of a canon character, that is. But the whole emphasis on free ice cream is weird because, despite being a genuinely cool thing that the cart owner is perfectly within his rights to offer, Ion still hadn't actually tasted ice cream until that moment, and is a touch overly excited over having what is functionally an infinite supply of a substance that he has no tangible experience with. It also feels like they're kind of overselling this moment because a lifetime supply of free ice cream does kind of seem like an excessive compensation for the simple act of stopping a cart from rolling into people. Again, between this ice cream cart and the occasional runaway baby carriage, I have no idea why it's apparently so difficult to stop a freewheeling object from rolling down a hill. I mean, yeah, the little girl would have been hurt, so kudos to Javi, but the typical adult should be able to just put their hands out in front of it. Like, that should be it. Instead, we have Ion leaping onto the thing and stopping it in a fairly dramatic but otherwise physically impractical fashion, dragging the umbrella pole along the ground at such an angle that it doesn't even seem to really be providing a whole lot of friction, just further emphasizing how little momentum the cart actually had built up during its roll. Like the ice cream salesman claims that he saved the cart, but it probably would have just slowed down upon hitting the sandy beach, especially considering that the grassy lawn actually angles back up right at that border. Sorry if I'm getting hung up on the details of this situation, but the physics teacher in me is just really frustrated over this sort of thing. Also, just because the couple couldn't hear Ion's initial warning doesn't mean he shouldn't have kept calling out while slowing down the cart. There's a lot of stuff to nitpick in the cliches of this scene being the one to kick off the core character conflict of the episode. And that's not even getting into how easily one could do a critique of capitalism through the lens of how Ion's protection of property for a small business is given equal if not greater weight than the actual physical rescue of a small child, and how his initial transgression is the acceptance of consumer goods without monetary exchange. Much like how Ollie's apology to Javi featured him gifting him a set of headphones just 2 episodes ago, it feels like Ion's eventual refusal of the free ice cream doesn't really mesh with the implied lesson of the episode, even if it does fit with the explicitly stated one. I mean, yes, the episode emphasizes that true heroes don't need rewards, but it's clearly the distractions caused by coveting praise that generate the actual conflicts of the episode. Also, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole heroes don't need rewards message, implying that we shouldn't be compensating people who make contributions to our communities, because that feels wrong. Now, regarding the actual consequences of Ion's actions, I do like how well Jane and Jayborg are integrated into the story here, as their antics provide a reasonable, if silly, inciting incident for the story, and Jane's individual focus on securing a good story continues to be a source of temptation throughout the episode. We also have yet another clever plot from our villains, further capitalizing on Jane and Jayborg's story contributions and taking advantage of Ion's character flaw of the week, as well as making good use of Trawler's nets and Slither's well-established shape-shifting ability. Although it would have been nice if Slither had done a bit more work on his hypnotism skills in advance of actually trying them on a massive robotic prehistoric reptile. Even though his "you are feeling very evil" shtick was yet more comedy gold from the writing team. This episode really did manage to hit a number of great comedic beats, with the character motivations all clearly drawn from their past presentations, playing upon our new 6th Ranger's lack of familiarity with Earth customs, as well as his previously established unfitness for leadership and willingness to scarf down sweet foods without any thought for consequences. But the heavy-handed nature of the framing for the moral, telegraphing the direction of the episode while also creating a disconnect between the stated moral and the actual direct consequences of the character choices, keeps it from being quite so sweet as a triple scoop strawberry cone. Also, the Electrozord is probably one of the most disturbing combinations I've ever seen in my life. That thing will haunt my nightmares. So make sure to join me next time for a deeper look at episode 18 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Crossed Wires. And if you would like to share this week's rapid run-through, you can find it as a standalone clip over at Morphin Legacy's YouTube channel. Please like, share, subscribe to us both, ring the bell for future notifications, and, until next time, farewell Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.